Today we will continue the next part of our chapter. The name of the chapter is none other than peasants, zamindars and the state. Today we will start with the topic women in the society or the status of women. Women in agrarian society. In last videos we mentioned about the society existed and we understood the fact that the society was predominantly agriculture based. Here, the first point, women and men had to work shoulder to shoulder in the field. So, a gender segregation between the home and the world was not possible in this context. Home for women and the world for men. Like in the present India, North India, we can see this fact. And women are closed in the circles of the home, and men have public life and private life for the home life is for women. But we can't segregate at that time. But biases related to women's biological function did continue. Artisanal tasks such as spinning yarn, sifting and kneading clay for pottery, and embroidery were among the many aspects of production dependent on female labor. Women were considered as important resource in agrarian society, and also because they were childbearers in society dependent on labor. At that time, women were considered an important resource in agrarian society, also because they were childbearers in society dependent on labor. Marriages in many rural communities required the payment of bride price rather than dowry to the bride's family. Marriages in many rural communities required payment of bride price. Now we can see the system of dowry, but at that time there existed a bride price. It's opposite actually. According to the according to established social norms, the household was headed by a male. Thus, women were kept under strict control by the male members of the family and the community. The head of a family was male, and it helped men to, and it made men not helped. We can say like that. It made the life of women more harsher. Amongst the landed gentry, women had the right to inherit property. Women Samitas were not in 18th century Bengal. In the landed gentry, women had the right to inherit property. In textbook, we can find more examples and all. So read the text carefully. Okay, take a look at the points once more. Now, forest and tribes. Apart from the intensively cultivated lands, India had huge swaths of forest. Dense forest, jungle or scrubland, Kharbandi, existed all eastern India, central India, northern India, including Terai on the Indo-Nepal border, Jharkhand and peninsular India down the western Ghats and the Deccan Plateau. Forest dwellers were termed jungli as their livelihood came from the gathering of forest produce, hunting and sifting agriculture. These activities were largely season specific. Regular hunting. Regular hunting expedition enabled the emperors to travel across the extensive territories of the emperor and personally attend the grievance of its inhabitants. Was clear? The spread of commercial agriculture as an external factor that impinged on the lives of the forest dwellers. Elephants were also captured and sold. At that time, the powerful people captured the elephant. Not they themselves captured, but they sold them. Social factors too wrought changes to the lives of forest dwellers. Like the big men of the village community, tribes are also the chieftains. The new cultural influence also began to penetrate into forested zones. Thus, the new cultural influence was also began to penetrate into forested zones. Okay, now take a look again. Forest and tribes. These are the basic points of this part. Then the zamindars. The zamindars were a class of people in the countryside that lived off agriculture but did not participate directly in the process of agriculture production. It's the main difference. They lived in the countryside. They lived off agriculture but they never participated directly in the process of agriculture. They were landed proprietors who also enjoyed certain social and economical privilege by virtue of their superior status in the rural society. The zamindars held extensive personal lands termed as milkiyat, meaning property. There will be one-word questions like, what is milkiyat? Milkiyat is the personal lands of zamindars. The term milkiyat means property. Zamindars also derived their power from the fact that they could often collect revenue on behalf of the state. Most zamindars are fortresses, known as kilachas, as well as armed contingent comprising units of cavalry, artillery, and infantry. Zamindars spearheaded the colonization of agricultural land and helped in settling cultivators by providing them with the means of cultivation, including cash loans. It's about how Semindars got the superior position. Although there can be little doubt that Semindars were an exploitative class, their relationship with the peasantry had an element of reciprocity, partnership, and patronage. How this? This is explained in the text. Okay, take a look at that also. Just read that part about Semindars. These are about we said about Milkiyat and how they derived the power and the kilachas and all. Then the next part is land revenue system. Now let's continue land revenue system. Revenue from the land was the economic mainstay of the Mughal Empire. The approaches include the office daftar of the Divan. Daftar is the office. Okay, the office of the Divan who was responsible for supervising the fiscal system of empire. The land revenue arrangements consisted of two stages. First, assessment and then actual collection. The two stages of land revenue arrangements are assessment and then the second stage is collection. The Jama was the amount assessed as opposed to Hasil, the amount be collected. Jama assessed amount, Hasil is the collected amount. In the list of duties of the Amir Kusar of revenue collector, Amir Kusar is a revenue collector or revenue collector. Akbar decreed that while he should strive to make cultivators pay in cash, the option of payment in kind was also be kept open. Both the cultivated and cultivable lands were measured in each province. The Ain compiled the aggregation such as lands during Akbar's rule. Okay, there are a lot to go. So we will be ending the chapter here. Go take a look again. So women in agrarian society. Study the terms like jungle, karbandi, etc. Then about the hunting, elephant catching or the hunting of elephants. Then the zamindars, milkiyat and all. The deriving of power. Then the land revenue system, daftar. What is meant by daftar? Who is divan? The two stages of land revenue arrangement, collection and assessment. Then the difference between Jama and Hasil. Who is Amil Kusar? And the measuring of land under Akbar. Tomorrow we will study about classification of lands under Akbar, the flow of silver, the Aini Akbari of Abul Fasal Alami, then the timeline. And tomorrow we will finish this chapter and move to the next. Okay, that's also all for today. Take a look at these points again. It says about Hetman and all.